What if I told you that the most powerful secret to living a fulfilled, meaningful life isn't hidden in books, careers, or relationships, because it's already within you? No, this isn't just motivational fluff or a thought experiment. It's a grounded truth rooted in the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that has empowered warriors, leaders, and thinkers for centuries. If you've been searching for personal growth, emotional resilience, or simply a deeper sense of self-worth, then pay close attention. Because the path forward doesn't begin out there. It begins in you. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of a well-lived life doesn't rest on fame, wealth, or external validation. It rests on the internal mastery of timeless virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't abstract ideals. They are practical tools for grounding yourself in a chaotic world. In a society obsessed with comparison and consumerism, this message is more vital than ever. Your peace, your power, and your purpose don't depend on your circumstances. They depend on how you respond to them. We're about to strip away the noise, the pressure to meet unrealistic expectations, the fear that we're not enough, the doubts that cloud our vision, and uncover the Stoic truths that have transformed lives for over 2,000 years. And they can do the same for you. This journey isn't just another self-help lecture. It's a deep dive into rediscovering your inherent value and learning how to live in alignment with what truly matters. So if you're ready to unlock the mindset that leads to emotional strength, mental clarity, and lasting fulfillment, you're in the right place. But before we go any further, do yourself this one favor. Don't skip any part of this content. Seriously, if you're here, it's because you already sense there's something different about you. That maybe you're done settling for the surface-level answers. That you're ready for something real. Now act like it. Stay with me. Because we've all been guilty of it. Settling. Whether it's staying in a soul-draining job, holding on to relationships that weigh us down, or ignoring the dreams that light us up because fear or comfort whispers, "This is good enough." But Stoicism challenges that. It teaches us that our true identity and inner strength are not defined by external situations, whether we're in a palace or a prison. What defines us is how we respond. When we accept less than we deserve, we're unknowingly handing over our power to the outside world. Stoicism calls us to reclaim that power. It asks, is this life you're living a reflection of your values or a product of fear? And if your answer isn't clear, that's okay, because the Stoic path isn't about shame. It's about power. The power to change our perspective, reframe our story, and choose how we respond. So the next time you feel yourself compromising your worth, remember this. You are not your job title, your bank account, or your relationship status. Your worth lies in how steadfastly you live by your values, in how you show up with courage, wisdom, and integrity, especially when life is hard. This isn't about blaming ourselves for where we are. It's about stepping into the agency we do have. Let's stop settling. Not because we're arrogant, but because we finally understand what we're truly worth. Let's meet life's challenges, not with defeat, but with the resilience and clarity that come from knowing who we are and what we stand for. Stoicism, at its core, isn't about boasting or inflating our ego. It's about recognizing and honoring our efforts, the quiet battles we've fought, the discipline we've maintained, the virtues we've lived by. Think about that recent win. Yes, that one. No matter how small it seems, did it take discipline, courage, wisdom? You didn't get there by accident. When we downplay our accomplishments, chalking them up to luck or saying anyone could have done it, we rob ourselves of something sacred, the truth. The truth that your character, not chance, shaped your success. So how do we acknowledge our efforts without becoming self-important? Through balance, through honesty. The Stoic approach says, yes, I worked hard. Yes, I overcame challenges. And yes, This is a reflection of my values in action, not ego, truth. So take a moment. Reflect on a recent achievement. Maybe it was applying for a new role, setting boundaries, or just showing up with strength when it was easier to break. Acknowledge it. See the virtue behind the action. This isn't about flattery. It's about clarity. Because when we learn to honor our strengths, we stop looking for permission to feel worthy. And that brings us to a common trap, sacrificing ourselves endlessly for others. Maybe you've skipped workouts to help family, stayed up late to meet someone else's deadline, put your dreams on hold to lift someone else up. That feels noble, even heroic. But if you're always pouring from an empty cup, eventually, you have nothing left to give. Stoicism doesn't promote selfishness, but it does demand self-respect. It teaches us that self-care is not indulgence, it's responsibility. If we're not physically, emotionally, or mentally well, how can we offer real support to others? That's where the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control comes in. You can't control others' needs or outcomes, but you can control how you care for yourself. So what does that look like in real life? It means knowing when to say no, prioritizing rest, making space for stillness. Whether it's meditation, reading, exercise, or just 5 quiet minutes, this is how you stay whole. Not for ego, for endurance, because when you're grounded, healthy, and clear, you show up for others not from obligation, but from genuine strength. This week, I challenge you. Choose one way to care for your mind, your body, or your spirit. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's going for that morning walk. Whatever it is, own it. Because caring for yourself isn't selfish, it's stoic. And part of that self-care is learning to see yourself clearly, not through the distorted lens of self-doubt or false modesty, but through the eyes of truth. The Stoics teach that humility isn't denying our strengths, it's recognizing them honestly. Why is it so hard to accept compliments? Often it's because we believe acknowledging our strengths makes us arrogant. But Stoicism says it's not arrogant to recognize the virtues you've practiced. It's necessary. When someone offers you praise, accept it. Don't deflect. Don't minimize. Just say, thank you, then reflect. What virtue did I show here? Was it courage? Temperance? Wisdom? This moment of acknowledgement isn't vanity, it's clarity. Because only when we see the truth of who we are, strengths, struggles, and all, can we become the best version of ourselves. And finally, let's talk about those moments when decisions feel impossible. You're standing on the edge, paralyzed by fear. Not because the choice is impossible, but because you don't trust yourself. That's the real issue. But Stoicism shines here too. It teaches that the value of a decision doesn't lie in the outcome. It lies in the integrity of how it's made. You can't control the future, but you can choose with reason, with virtue, and with trust in yourself. It's about aligning our choices with our values, acting with integrity, and accepting the outcomes, whatever they may be, as part of the natural flow of life. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control every twist of fate, but we can control the intention behind our actions. So why do we fear making decisions? Often it's because we're afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of failing, of disappointing ourselves or others. But failure, from a Stoic perspective, isn't something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. It's not a dead end. It's a step forward. In the Stoic worldview, there are no true failures, only lessons. Every result, even the ones we didn't want, holds the potential to teach us something valuable. And this belief can fundamentally change how we approach our lives. It encourages us to make choices with courage and clarity, trusting that whatever the outcome, it will serve our growth. But how do we develop that kind of trust in ourselves? How do we strengthen our decision-making muscle, so to speak? It starts by embracing the Stoic virtues of wisdom and reason. Before making a decision, take a moment of stillness. Reflect. Ask yourself, does this align with my core values? Am I choosing this from a place of integrity? When we make choices grounded in virtue and thoughtful reasoning, we can accept the outcome, no matter what, with peace. Because we know we acted with the best understanding we had at the time. And then comes the next Stoic teaching: to accept and learn from the outcome. Whether it's what we hoped for or not, it offers insight. It becomes a mirror. We get to ask, what worked? What didn't? What can I carry forward from this experience? This process builds self-trust. It assures us that we are capable of navigating uncertainty, that we can keep moving, keep learning, and keep choosing in alignment with who we are becoming. At its core, Stoicism is about discernment, especially in where we place our focus. If we obsess over our flaws, replay every misstep, and fixate on perfection, we're like a captain trying to steer a ship while staring at the cracks in the deck instead of the horizon. We lose sight of where we're going. The Stoics tell us, perfection is an illusion. Progress, measured, honest progress, is the real goal. So why do we so often fall into the cycle of self-criticism? Because we judge ourselves by impossible standards. We hold ourselves to ideals we wouldn't expect from anyone else. We forget that to be human is to stumble, to grow, to evolve. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote: self-compassion, not as softness, but as clarity. It's not about letting ourselves off the hook. It's about understanding that setbacks are not indictments of our character, but part of the human condition. The Stoic response to failure isn't, "What's wrong with me?" It's, "What can I learn from this?" And that's the difference. That's what makes progress possible. Every honest effort, every small attempt, even the ones that fall short, these are steps forward. We aren't aiming for perfection. We're aiming for growth. Growth that's often uneven, slow, uncomfortable, but real. This doesn't mean we stop striving. On the contrary, we strive more deliberately, but we do so with the wisdom that growth doesn't always look like success. Sometimes it looks like showing up, even when you don't feel ready. Sometimes it looks like trying again, even after failing. Then, there's another modern challenge that Stoicism speaks to deeply: comparison. Why do we compare ourselves so much? Part of it is instinctual. We look to others to understand ourselves. But in today's world, especially with social media constantly feeding us curated, filtered highlights of other people's lives, that instinct becomes overwhelming. We see snapshots of success, beauty, and joy, rarely the struggle, the pain, the setbacks. And so we start to believe that we're falling behind, that our journey isn't good enough, that our value is less. But Stoicism invites us to look inward, to recognize our own unique journey, virtues, and progress, not in relation to others, but on our own terms. It doesn't tell us to ignore others or stop being inspired by them. It tells us to stop comparing and start admiring, to let others' success motivate us without diminishing our own. So how do we escape the comparison trap? First, by practicing mindfulness. Notice when you start comparing. Catch yourself in the act. Remind yourself that you're seeing someone's highlight reel, not their behind-the-scenes reality. Second, redirect your focus to what you can control: your effort, your virtues, your daily actions. That's where your real power lies. That's where meaning grows. And third, anchor yourself in gratitude. Gratitude for your path, your growth, your struggles, and your wins. Gratitude makes room for contentment, and from contentment, real motivation flows. Not from inadequacy, but from purpose. Now ask yourself, how often have you delayed doing something meaningful for yourself? Maybe it was a course you wanted to take, a hobby you dreamed of starting, a daily ritual of rest or care you promised to commit to, and yet you pushed it off. Why? It's easy to say we don't have time, But more often, it's because, deep down, we're telling ourselves that we're not worth the effort. And that's where Stoicism steps in, once again, as a guide. It reminds us that self-improvement isn't a trend. It's a form of self-respect. It's not just something you do when you have spare time. It's something you prioritize because you understand your inherent worth. Seneca compared life to a garden. Without care, it withers. But with consistent attention, it thrives. Your inner world is no different. And if you neglect your personal growth, your garden, no one else can tend it for you. So why do we hesitate? Sometimes it's the pull of instant gratification. Sometimes it's deeper, low self-esteem, fear, self-doubt. But the Stoic truth remains. You have inherent value, and investing in yourself is a declaration of that truth. This investment doesn't have to be huge. It can be a few pages of a good book, a few quiet minutes of reflection, a hobby revisited, a walk taken with presence. What matters is consistency and intention and reflection. Regular self-examination, honest and compassionate, is a core Stoic practice. It helps you recognize your strengths, your areas for growth, and your direction. It helps you live on purpose rather than drifting. This is about more than goals. It's about alignment. Aligning your daily actions with your deepest values. Cultivating virtue in all that you do. The Stoics also believed in lifelong learning. Wisdom isn't a destination, it's a path. When you shift from chasing completion to embracing curiosity, your growth becomes a journey of wonder, not obligation. True validation, they taught, comes from within, from the sense of integrity and peace that arises when you know you've lived by your principles. Marcus Aurelius said it best. It's not the opinions of others that disturb us. It's our judgments about those opinions. So why do we seek approval? So often, it usually stems from insecurity, a fear that we're not enough unless someone else tells us we are. And in a world that constantly measures, ranks, and compares, that fear is constantly triggered. But Stoicism invites us to break that cycle, to focus not on applause, but on character, not on image, but on substance. The way out starts with awareness. Start asking yourself, why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? Let your answers guide you back to your own values. Then cultivate self-sufficiency, not isolation, but wholeness. A sense that you are already complete, already worthy, and that nothing external can add or subtract from that. Epictetus taught that what's within our control is what matters most. Our actions, our intentions, our effort, let everything else fall away, and in doing so, redefine success. It's not about applause, titles, or likes. It's about living virtuously, practicing reason, showing resilience. That's the Stoic metric of success. Sometimes life puts us in hard places, jobs that drain us, relationships that diminish us. And over time, we start to believe that maybe this is all we're meant for. But Stoicism offers us both a mirror and a map. Yes, environment matters. It shapes us. But we also carry the power and the responsibility to choose differently, to build surroundings that reflect our values and nurture our well-being. We are not trapped. We are capable. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our inner peace is not determined by our external circumstances, but by how we respond to them. So why do we tolerate negative environments? Often it's because we underestimate our capacity for change. We fear the unknown. We cling to the familiar. We doubt our worth. But Stoicism challenges those fears. It urges us to see clearly, reminding us that we possess the power to choose how we act, how we respond, and ultimately, how we shape our lives. We are not trapped. We just forget that we hold the key. Stoicism offers tools, not just to survive difficult environments, but to transform them from within. One of its core practices is the cultivation of inner resilience and autonomy. This isn't about becoming cold or detached. It's about building strength at the core. As Marcus Aurelius described, It's about fortifying your inner citadel, that sacred place inside you that remains steady, even when the world outside shakes. With a strong inner core, we become less vulnerable to toxicity and more capable of making decisions that serve our well-being. We stop reacting. We start choosing from a place of strength, not fear. Another guiding Stoic principle is the idea of living in accordance with nature. This includes not only aligning with our inner nature, but also harmonizing with our surroundings. That means seeking or creating environments that support our growth, peace, and purpose. We deserve kindness, respect, positive connection, and Stoicism teaches us not to settle for less. In practice, this might mean setting boundaries in unhealthy relationships, seeking new career paths that align with your values, or surrounding yourself with people who uplift rather than deplete you. It also means tending to your inner environment. Meditation, journaling, hobbies that replenish your spirit. These aren't luxuries. They're acts of self-respect. But why does fear still have such a hold on us? Because we're deeply aware of what we stand to lose. Our minds craft vivid scenarios of failure, lost time, wasted effort, the judgment of others. And yet Stoicism doesn't dismiss these fears. It meets them head-on and invites us to ask a deeper question. What do we stand to gain? It encourages us to weigh our fears not against comfort, but against the possibility of growth, fulfillment, and a life fully lived. One Stoic practice that helps us overcome the fear of chasing our dreams is the premeditation of evils, what we now call negative visualization. By imagining worst-case scenarios not to dwell on them, but to make peace with them, we take away their power. We realize, I can endure this, I can survive and even grow from it. That clarity can be liberating, because once fear is seen in the light, it often loses its form. This doesn't mean we act recklessly. It means we act courageously, aware of risk, but not ruled by it. Another guiding idea is amor fati, the love of fate. This is the Stoic call not just to accept whatever life brings, but to embrace it with open arms. The joys, the disappointments, the detours, each is a thread in the tapestry of a meaningful life. With amor fati, we stop resisting the flow of life. We move with it, and in doing so, we free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of fear and step forward with conviction. Stoicism reminds us that a life worth living isn't one defined by achievement, but by virtue, by the way we persist, by how we show up, with integrity, diligence, and courage. In this light, the fear of pursuing your dreams isn't just a barrier to success, it's a barrier to living a life that is truly yours. But why do we forget this? Why do we lose sight of our own worth? Because as human beings, we crave connection, approval, validation, and when that need goes unchecked, we start defining ourselves through the lens of others, through applause, comparison, and external milestones. Yet Stoicism teaches that our worth doesn't live outside us. It's not measured by status, money, or public opinion. It lives within. As Epictetus wrote, freedom is not secured by fulfilling our desires, but by removing our desire. And that includes the desire to prove our worth. True peace comes not from winning approval, but from letting go of the need for it, from turning inward, from recognizing that we are already enough. This is the Stoic invitation, to shift your focus from what others see to what you embody, to live with character, to build your life on a foundation of virtue. Yes, titles, goals, and success matter, but they are not the source of your value. Your worth is intrinsic, unchanging, like the stars that light the night sky. And when you recognize that, you move through life with a quiet confidence that no one can take away. So how do we begin to cultivate this Stoic understanding of worth? It starts with self-reflection, with looking inward, not to criticize, but to acknowledge. to honor your efforts, your virtues, your resilience. It continues with gratitude for your strengths, your growth, your path. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you carry. And in doing so, it reminds you that you are already whole. Detaching your value from opinions and achievements doesn't make you indifferent, it gives you perspective. It allows you to live on your own terms, to pursue what really matters, and to do so with grace. Still, the feeling of unworthiness often lingers. It's fueled by past pain, by the weight of expectation, by the distorted mirror of social comparison. We see the highlight reels of others' lives and contrast them with the behind-the-scenes of our own. We start to believe that happiness is scarce, something earned only by the deserving, but Stoicism dismantles that lie. It teaches that happiness is not a reward, it's a way of living. It invites us to return to our values, to align our choices with our principles, to find joy in the pursuit of virtue and the cultivation of reason. When we focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, we reclaim the power to create happiness, not wait for it. So how do we begin this Stoic journey toward joy? We start by changing our narrative about worthiness. Happiness isn't conditional on perfection or praise. It lives in the small, noble choices we make every day. Practicing gratitude helps too. When we shift our gaze from scarcity to abundance, from lack to presence, we start to see how much beauty and potential surrounds us, even in the ordinary. And we remember that we're not alone. Stoicism honors the power of community, of shared wisdom, of relationships rooted in mutual support and purpose. Happiness doesn't have to be a solitary endeavor. It grows when we walk alongside others, when we lift each other up and walk this path together. So as we close this journey through the wisdom of Stoicism, let us carry forward this truth. Your life is a canvas, and every day you have the power to paint it with the colors of virtue, resilience, and joy. You are the architect of your own destiny, the sculptor of your own peace. The path ahead may be difficult, but it is also rich with meaning. You are deserving of happiness. You are capable of living with purpose, and you are worthy of love, success, and joy, not someday, but now. If this message spoke to you, if it sparked something within, then I encourage you to watch the suggested video on the screen. It explores Stoic practices that can deepen your transformation and help you live with more intention and clarity. If this conversation has moved you, please like and share this video with those you care about. Let's spread the wisdom of Stoicism, far and wide, empowering others to reclaim their worth and walk forward with courage and conviction. Thank you for joining us today at Stoic Sage Academy.